Oh yeah, go live. Hello, race fans. Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcast, where we bring the live racing action here tonight for the regular season finale of the RSR Cup Series for the Folds of Honor 150 laps here tonight at this Texas Motor Speedway. Should be a brilliant race that you do not want to miss, and thank you all for tuning in as always. But let's give a special shout out to all the proud partners here at the Evolution Racing League and Freaky Fast Broadcasting. First, we have Or Nissan Central, the leading Nissan dealership in Oklahoma City. You can go check out their website at www.ornissancentral.com. Next, we have Sheffield Graphics, the leading designer in sim racing paint schemes and liveries. It was founded by a Navy veteran, and a portion of every paint goes to the Military Foundation Folds of Honor. It's a great nonprofit organization who gives sponsorship to the families of fallen soldiers and disabled veterans. Make sure to check them out on Facebook under Sheffield Graphics. Also, we have ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car, from the ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful bass response, and it's all perfectly synced with every game with no additional software required. So go to ButtKicker.com and you will be able to get yourselves a Gamer 2 and feel what you've been missing. You can use FreakyFast20 as our promo code to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. Remember, www.ButtKicker.com. FreakyFast20, Freaky with two E's, and you can get yourself 20% off of any purchase there at their website. So make sure you go check them out and let them know Freaky Fast sent you there. But thank you to all the proud partners here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and the Evolution Racing Leagues that help put on this action here every Tuesday night for the Evolution Racing League. Man, what a night we have here. I'm Zach Hall up in the booth for the season finale here at the RSR Cup Series. We have Brandon Colley alongside me to call all the action, and Robert Moyer Jr. in the production box. But Brandon, what a night we have. I know you've been crunching your calculator pretty much to death. I mean, that thing is, we could toss it out the window because I think it's used up.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to level with you and the fans watching. I love playoff racing because there's so much going on all over the place. But I hate it because I'm bad at math, okay? And I've been having to do way too much math today. I thought I was done with math when I left school. But no, here it is rearing its ugly head. And like you said, my poor phone screen is just, I've got like indentations on it now from crunching the numbers on the poor calculator. But realistically speaking, we've got quite a few guys that are within range to get knocked out here tonight. And also, we've got something unexpected that even caught me off guard not realizing it. Some guys that are outside of that playoff bubble that are getting a win, going to be knocking some guys that were thinking they were secured outside looking in. And right now, the man on the outside looking in is going to be Kevin Younes. Geez, I'm all over the place. I've been doing too much. Anthony Younes, just a bit outside, I believe, by about 4 or 5 points. So very close from the 11th position in points. Andrew Little on back to Anthony Younes. It's very close there. Each one of those drivers only separated by about 5 or 4 points. And then back mathematically, Casey Kuntz, 38 points behind Anthony. Still mathematically possible to make it in, but any farther back than that, you're mathematically out of the equation. So those are the guys we're going to have to be looking at. I'm going to do my best throughout this race to try to keep track of these guys and their stage points and see who's getting what, to try to give you an update to who's in, who's out as best I can. No promises. You may get some rough guesstimations.
Yes, we are not perfect when it comes to math up here, and sometimes, points and how it changes on the racetrack, very hard to keep up with. But like Brandon said, he'll try to do his best to keep up with that, and I'll try to help somewhat with that. It's going to be rough there, but we'll definitely be looking at that stuff play out because, man, I tell you what, there is also some guys there, Brandon, who are mathematically, say, out of this, but can win the race tonight and be in a shot at this. I'm looking at really the last guy that really has a good shot at possibly winning and getting in is Anthony Ludi there, as he's 6 points out of the top 20. But if he wins, he should be able to, I imagine, to make that 6 points up to put himself in the top 20 I mean, of course, it all comes down to stages, and all the points factor into it. But I would say he's the driver within a real shot for all this. Chad Biesinger, also a driver that could win and get in. Junior Miller also. So we'll have to watch there because Kevin Zabaldil there, 18th points. He's got the win. He is in. But remember, I mean, he could have a bad race. Some guys get some good points here. I mean, maybe he gets slid back to 20th, but it would take a lot, personally, out of Junior Miller and Chad Biesinger to push him back outside the top 20.
Yeah, they would have to have absolutely stellar races, and Kevin Zabladil would almost have to get knocked out well into this race and finish dead last for them to have a shot at doing that. But talking about the drivers that are within range, that they're kind of within that you absolutely have to win to make it into the playoffs. I'm thinking Miller is the best shot. He has really kind of come to life the last couple races and been right up there battling. I think out of the drivers that are within that range to be able to make that happen and win to get in here in a last-ditch effort, I'm thinking Miller is going to be the one to do that if anybody can.
Very, very true. He has been on a roll for sure, my friend. And he will have to have a great run here tonight if he wants to put himself into the playoffs here in the very final moments. And I mean, think about it, Brandon. We've had 11 winners so far this season. 10 of those winners are going to be going into the playoffs. Looks like our only winner not to go through will be Jeff Carson. He's 33rd in points, only 9 starts, so really it didn't have a shot to get into the top 20 there for Jeff Carson as he came in later in the season. But man, 10 winners getting into the playoffs of the 11. That is a spectacular season so far we've had through these 20 races.
Yeah, and it really just goes to show the talent throughout the entire field to have that many different winners throughout a season. 19 races. This will be race 20, and only a handful of guys with multiple wins. You've got Hunter Hayward with 2, Ryan Bean with 3, Travis Everett with 2, GT really coming alive right when he needed to, picking up 2 wins just before the start of the playoffs here, and also being our points leader ahead of Curtis Preston by 57 points. So pretty much an entire race worth of points for a lead for GT. And man, it's just it's been a blast so far watching this season as it's played out, and just seeing the comers and goers, guys taking off at the start of the season a little bit slow, but just slowly finding that pace, finding the speed, finding the confidence, and finding those good results here when they matter the most.
Looks like we got some great comments out here from our YouTube chat. It looks like we have Ryan Bean there, as he will unfortunately not be making tonight. So unfortunately, Ryan Bean, but he is locked into our playoffs. So Ryan Bean is in good, he will be going on to the playoffs. So not here tonight, but thank you, Ryan Bean, for your service, buddy. And we appreciate you. And also got Trevor Massetti. He's saying, let's go clutch and slide jobs, as he's shouting out those teams. So great stuff from the fans out there in chat. 15 of y'all out there, thank you very much for always tuning in here to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And make sure, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and also hit us up in chat if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and we will more than welcome to chat with you. So looks like at the moment, with about 38 seconds remaining here in qualifying, Nolan Potter looking to bring home that Sheffield graphics pole. I tell you what, this guy always on mile and a half, man. He is one to watch. You cannot count him out. Won earlier this season. Would not be surprised if he put that thing in victory lane here later tonight. As with 18 seconds to go, Kevin Zabaldil, the only driver not to have put a time down. I believe that's going to be your pole setter here tonight, as we have 29 cars here taking times. What a time there for Nolan Pilots. He'll bring home the Sheffield graphics pole as the time concludes. We'll go ahead and pull up our starting grid so we can go through that and get a chat here with Nolan Potter, as we got 150 laps here tonight. Texas, long race, and it's going to be very grueling for the end of this regular season. Nolan Potter's going to start from that pole position. Second's going to be Hunter Hayward. Third's going to be Nathan Campbell, trying to get into that playoff spots, or stay in playoff contention. Fourth's going to be Craig A. Burns. Fifth's going to be GT Irizarry. Our points leader. Sixth's going to be Andrew Little. Seventh's going to be Travis Everett. Eighth's going to be Bob Fitzpatrick. Ninth is Jeff Carson. And rounding out your top 10 is Dustin Stallings.
Stephen Baldwin in the 18 and 11th. Chad Biesinger in 12th position. Zach Schrittenthal 13th. Stephen Carey in 14th position. Anthony Yunez hoping to crack into the top 16, rolling off 15th tonight. Kevin Ruff in 16th position. Kevin Sabilla they're in 17th position. Casey Kuntz 18th, hoping to have a good run. Rusty Modesty 19th, and Tony Ludi rounding out your top 20.
21st is going to be Brock Potter. 22nd is James Catrone. 23rd is going to be Harold Rothery. 24th is going to be Harold Watkins. 25th is going to be David Hall. 26th is going to go to Kevin Dow. 27th, Marc-Andre Thibodeau. 28th is Ryan E. Zell. And rounding out your field in the 29th position will be Kevin Zabladil, as that's your starting grid here tonight for the RSR Cup Series. And our Sheffield Graphics pole winner is Nolan Potter. Let's go ahead and bring him on up here from Stealth Motorsports. And that 34 machine looking very strong to start the night as he's brought home the pole. Here's Nolan Potter.
Nolan Potter, Brandon, up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, man, congratulations on getting the Sheffield Graphics Pole Award here at Texas. Zach hit on it a little bit ago. There's just something with you in these 1.5 miles. You just show a lot of speed here, able to put this thing on the pole tonight. How'd you put down such a burner lap, man?
You know, you call it luck sometimes. I've been struggling practicing here all week. So I felt like I got in a pretty good groove last night in the practice race, and it carried over to today for qualifying. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I know Hunter's always fast, and there's a few fast guys behind me, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, got a great starting position here to just kind of feel out what the car is doing. But speaking about what the car is doing, I got to ask you, it's a bit cold out here. We know how kind of sensitive these Cup cars are with aero and all that. You know, what's the grip level like out here for you guys tonight?
It's pretty good. After you get probably about 5 or 6 laps in, it really starts to get tight. So it's really about saving the tire, not overdriving it, and having the most tire at the end, I think. So.
Well, man, going to be watching this race with great interest. Hopefully you can keep that thing up front, and maybe we'll get to talk to you for one of these stages, maybe even at the win at the end of it. So wish you the best of luck, and let you get back down there, bud.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was your Sheffield Graphics pole winner, Nolan Potter. I tell you what, great information from him there, Kylie, and a great question from you, because you just let us know what we're going to be experiencing. These guys are going to have to keep that right front under them tonight, because it looks like the tight side is coming to them as the run goes on.
And that's telling me, especially in turns 3 and 4, you're going to be having to contend with dirty air pretty much the entire run, especially, you know, like you said, it tightening up like that, it's only going to make that worse.
And oh no, unfortunately, Zach Schrenthal looks like he's lost connection, has dropped out of this race. And so that too won't be starting in the 13th position as the pace car is off. We're going to be looking to take the initial green flag tonight's event here for the Folds of Honor 150. Green flag in the air. Barney waves that thing. And I tell you what, Hunter Hayward, great start from the top side also with Craig A. Burns as the top rolls. Hayward has the lead going down the 1 and 2 as it's side by side from there on back inside lane to just not get going.
And that might be something that they're going to have to pay attention to for the remainder of this race. I know certain tracks, especially another 1.5 miles like Atlanta, the inside lane on a restart, it just doesn't seem to have the grip to be able to roll very well. The outside seems to take off, and maybe seeing that here tonight at Texas.
We'll have to watch all that as the first lap is complete. Hunter Hayward going to lead that here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Nathan Campbell slotting into third now. He needs a great run, Brandon. He is one of the drivers near that cut line and is in jeopardy of getting knocked out here tonight. If he can get good stage points at this, we'll put him in a great position, especially because a lot of drivers around him are not in great positions.
Yeah, and there's a couple guys inside the top 10 now. It's really just Andrew Little, Nathan Campbell that are needing those good stage points. Casey Kuntz up to 14th now. Really the one that's needing to make up the most points here really needs to make sure to finish inside the top 10, as high up in the top 10 as every single stage as he can to even have a shot at it. But right now, you know, Nathan Campbell and Andrew Little just trying to maintain where they're at. They don't need to go out here and beat everybody, but they can't afford to give up a lot of points.
Well, looking at the fuel limit and the tire sets here tonight, we have the strategy is very interesting. It's pretty much single file throughout our whole entire field at the moment here. As a lot of drivers settling in here in these first stage, Brandon, you know, with a 55% fuel load, 5 sets of tires here, 4 in the pits. Man, the strategy is going to be interesting. You know, we've seen a lot of times the drivers not take tires at that first stage stop throughout these races to save a set. I think if you're one of the guys that has to get stage points, you're going to have to use that extra set. there is no way you're saving his tires tonight. You are going to have to go out there and get stage points and do it the old-fashioned way by getting your track position back later in the race.
I think that's the correct call as well. You're going to have to play for going out there and trying to win, but you're going to have to give up maybe getting as good a position as you probably could, playing it conservative for the end of the race to maximize the points that you can possibly get here by taking advantage of those sets of tires when other guys might not during the stages. And I know, especially like I talked about, Casey Kuhn's the one that really has the most he needs to gain. I imagine he's going to be the most aggressive when it comes to pit strategy here tonight, just trying to get those points.
Well, looking at a 55% fuel load, I'm thinking, Brandon, here, this is the big thing, is 40-lap stages here. They're not going to be able to make that. There is no way they're going 40 laps on a 55% tank. It's going to be close. I'd say 5 laps at least short. But, so that's what we're looking at right now is Jeff Carson in the 9. He goes forward as he had a great run in the ARCA Series. Looks like he's going to work the inside here, put himself up possibly into that 9th position there. So 9 car up to 9th past Dustin Stallings. So great job by him there. He's fighting still here with him as they get on the back straightaway. But back to what I was saying with the strategy, you're not going to make it, to that 40-lap mark. So you're going to have to pit. I think if man, it's so interesting with the strategy with 5 sets of tires. It looks like we got an extra set than we normally do for the 150 laps, especially with that last stage. You can most likely one stop since it's 70 laps. Brendan, the strategy is very interesting. I know I'm rambling here and going all over the place, but my brain as a crew chief is just running wild with strategy.
Well, opening up the last stage, if you can play it correctly to only have to have the one stop, it really you can be a lot more liberal with your sets of tires and take a lot more chances. But unfortunately, because everybody's going to be able to do that, it's not going to benefit the guys that are needing to be aggressive with their pit strategy all that much, because it's just going to mean there's a lot more guys on that same strategy as them. If everybody else has realized, what the potential limits of their fuel are and exactly when the stops they should be planning for are. It just opens up the strategy a lot, but with strategy, you can gain a lot, but you can lose a whole lot as well if you time it wrong.
Oh no, you definitely can lose. I mean, you could ruin your race by overthinking this thing. And I tell you, the one thing that makes you overthink it the most is you're driving, trying to hit your marks, and then you're thinking of your competition, and all those things are going on. You start thinking about strategy. You start thinking how you're going to play stuff out. You make a big mistake, and guess what? Your race is over because you made that mistake. And I tell you what, Campbell just made a gigantic blot on GT there. He is looking for stage points, Brandon. He does not want to get up track position. He's fighting as much as he can. Even Andrew Little here now up in the 5th. Those two having a fantastic run to start off this race. They need this run.
Yeah, and it's kind of dangerous for them. Everybody is going to be understanding the position they're in and how aggressive they're going to have to be, but they've also got to understand that, especially if you're Nathan Campbell, the guy that you're throwing blocks on, GT, he doesn't have anything to lose. He can finish dead last in this race, and it won't matter to him. It matters far more to you where you're going to finish. So you got to take into consideration who you're racing and exactly what you stand to lose if it goes wrong.
Oh, no, I completely agree with you, but at the same time, GT's got to understand who he's racing,
Yeah, definitely double-sided coin.
There. Exactly, double-sided coin here, because if you go and make so you make a move on a driver that puts them out of the playoffs, imagine how that driver races you the rest of the season. So you got to think about how you race people in this final regular season race. This isn't just a race. This is a mind game also involved here. There's a lot going on when you get to the playoffs that can shake things up. And if you have a little bit of a disgruntled person out there on track, then you think that at some point you're probably going to have to get around them at some point through those final races. They could cause an issue for you, and you could be out of a race, man. I mean, I'm telling you what, it's something you definitely don't want to do in the final regular season races, make someone mad that, could affect your final, 10 races.
Yeah, because, GT, he doesn't have anything to lose in this race, but if he causes an issue for Andrew Little or Campbell or any of these other guys that are right on the bubble, and he knocks them out with that issue, they've got 10 races where they've got nothing to lose, and he has everything to lose. So, like you said, you still got to be careful who you're racing with, even though you can just go out here and try to race for wins. But man, it just makes the intensity. Everything means that much more, and all these mini battles, and it's something we're going to be talking about. It's going to be exhausting for us to talk about for the remainder of the playoffs once they get going. just all these little things that are going on, all these guys that are battling each and every week. And the histories, guys don't forget, different moves like you said. So you give it to them bad in one race, they're going to give it back to you twice as bad in another one.
One of our guys battling forward is Casey Coots. He's trying to get stage points. He's up to the 15th position, trying to battle past Chad Beesinger now to get up to the 14th in that 31. As we had seen, GT's got the second. But Casey here, he's going forward. He's a guy right there, like you said, Brandon, that needs a great run tonight, needs as many stage points as possible. So he's trying to get himself up in here as he's now up to 14th.
Well, looking at the running order right now, of the guys that I have written down, Andrew Little and Nathan Campbell running the best of that group in the 4th and 5th positions. And it looks like Casey Kuntz and Anthony Yunez both running 13th and 14th right now, just looking to get those stage points. But the two that I'm surprised most about is got to be the 38 of James Catrone in 17th, but also Harold Watkins back in 20th position right now. Harold Watkins is desperately going to need to get up toward the front and try to hold on to some of those points he has an advantage on over guys like Nathan Campbell and that of Andrew Little.
Well, Brandon, I think strategy is what's coming into question right now. 17 laps into this run, we're nearing the halfway point. If you're going to pull triggers and, go for a stage victory here, you're going to have to be taking tires pretty quickly here. And I know that sounds like almost a waste. If anything here, we'll probably see most guys not take tires. But if you're going to need stage points, you kind of got to take them. I mean, especially if you're nearing the the tail end of the top 20 in the teens, it's really critical. But strategy is going to be all over the place, man. I'm really interested to see how guys play, because if you stretch it as far as you go, maybe go 35 laps, you pit at lap 35, take your tires there, stay out at the stage. So there's definitely different things to do here for these drivers. I just want to see who plays what, and I love that the fuel load and the limits of the tires and stages actually really work together well tonight.
Yeah, it's a move for the driver's sake that they asked for, just to give them more options. It's great when you're the guy that's out every week that just seems to have the pace over 90% of the field. You're really only worrying about 2 or 3 guys having the same pace as you. But when you're the guys that just, can't seem to find the pace, and you're maybe better at playing the strategy, just figuring out, okay, if I time it this way and this way, then I can gain an advantage. It really opens up the competitiveness of the league, and we've seen that talked about at the top of the show, just the amount of different winners we've had so far this season, and it lends itself to that even more. And a great move, and it's awesome to broadcast as well. It's awesome to watch, just trying to figure out what these guys do, and just, do they get the timing of a caution that absolutely kills their strategy, maybe traps them a lap down, puts them back, on the back foot, and trying to think their way out of a box to find their way back to the front, just adds to the excitement.
Here we ride on board with Ryan Ezel. He's up 4 spots too in that 5 machine. Great run for him going tonight so far, gaining those positions. Right now, about 14 seconds back from the lead, so looking to stay on that lead lap here in the stage. And it's great to see Brian back out there. Here's the 98 of Kevin Dowd. Looks like that's going to be a battle here for the top 24 as they come through the front straightaway. And really up front right now, it's kind of separating up front. We got 2 drivers really showing really strong pace here at the end of this run. And looking to pull away from the rest of this field as Hunter Hayward's got GT now all over the back bumper. But since he's got there, it's kind of evened out between those two.
And it's kind of that bubble you get where you get within about 2/10 of a car in front of you, and you seem to have a little bit harder with time. The dirty air, you're having to approach the corners just a little bit differently, roll out of the corner a bit. But even still, with that in mind, last time by GT was a little under a 10th quicker than Hunter Hayward. He's stretched the gap now. Hunter Hayward has back out to 3/10. We'll have to see what the lap time difference is this time by. As now they've come across the line, times come in. Now 2/10 quicker for Hunter Hayward. It's just that bubble, about 2/10. It just really hurts the car. And last time by, it was turn 1. The GT got within that range, and turn 1, as we talked about during the ARCA race a little while ago, that's the money corner. That set of corners there, that's where you need to be good, because everybody else just so equal in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and you're seeing last time by GT, he lost a little bit of ground there, lost 0.004 of a second there to Hunter, but he caught the apron down here in 1 and 2 one time, and that really lost him some ground. He's getting really close to that white line. I like that though. He's trying to get as much clean air on the nose as Hunter's actually running about a half a groove off the bottom, and it's letting the 14 get a little bit of a clean air on that nose, helping him turn. But right now, losing actually ground to Hunter is, Hunter Hayward's an interesting fellow with his pace. I just making observations of this guy. He really seems to really be quick in the short runs. It kind of, fall off a little bit in the mid run, and then as you start to get back to the long run, it's almost like that mid run cooled his tires down, and he starts to find pace again as that run goes on. So really good job by Hayward this whole season to be consistent on the long runs and be quick on the short runs. I gotta say, as we're looking back at Travis Everett here, he's running the 7th position, kind of struggling tonight. Especially looking at the lap times, 31.006. Not the greatest time for Everett, especially on the long run. I'd expect a little bit more out of this 59 here, especially in the season finale. But good thing for him, Texas isn't on the schedule if this is one of the tracks that he doesn't, groove with.
Well, as we talk about Travis Everett, looks like Jeff Carson coming on pit road just a lap before. Dustin Stallings sitting pit road. But yeah, it's a really quiet night out of Travis Everett. Qualified 7th, still running 7th. Same for Bob Fitzpatrick in the 3 last week's winner. Qualified 8th, still running 8th. Just a really uneventful, calm night for the two of them so far. And through the cycle of pit stops, now guys are starting to come in. Casey Kuntz able to move up to that 10th position. So 1 bonus point at the moment, looking like for the 31 of Casey Kuntz. But if he can't make it, he's going to have to pit. I think if you're one of these guys that are looking to maximize your points, I think you need to start coming in now and undercut all the rest of these guys.
I think you're completely right about that, Brandon. If you're going to do it now, you better do it. I mean, that's the thing. And it looks like most of the guys that have came down already have taken fuel only. So I'm thinking that's what most people will do. But does somebody go aggressive and take tires? That'll be the question. It looks like Casey Kuntz actually just coming down pit road here. So see what he does in the 31 machine, because he's one of those drivers looking for points tonight.
Harold Watkins also following him onto pit road. James Catrone now going to be up 10 spots to the 12th position. Anthony Yunus now taking that last playoff point position in 10th, looking to find some type of an advantage over the guys just in front of him on points. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. I'm really interested to see just how much of an advantage Casey is going to get over the guys that he is racing. Andrew Little now coming in this time by. See if he can hop ahead of some of these guys and get just a couple more points by the end of the stage.
Yeah, these guys doing fuel only too, Brandon. Interested to see him coming down right here. Oh, look at this. Andrew Little, left side tires. So he's going to put 2 left side tires on that race car, some fuel. We'll see what that can produce in the final moments of this run here. But I tell you what, for taking left sides, that's a lot of fuel. And a lot of time they're taking. I'm unsure if he had a penalty there, Brandon, how long he's sitting there.
He very well could have sped. I'll have to go back and look at his entry. He also might be, he's got some rear end damage. Oh yeah, he got run into the backup by the 52 coming down to pit road. Let's see, coming across the line, he was about 60 miles an hour coming across the line there, so that very well could be a speeding penalty for Andrew Little, which is disastrous for him.
I tell you what, our leader looked death in the eyes, guys. He came down pit road, got a little bit too hard on the rear brakes there, and about lost the car on entry. The nose, I'm talking, I mean, it was a foot that he had between the nose and the wall. Luckily corrected it, and GT beats him out though. So here off of pit road, GT Irizarry gonna take the lead from Hunter Hayward once it all cycles through, as Fitzpatrick's still out on the racetrack. This is giving us good information though right here of Fitzpatrick staying out. He's on lap 33 right now. They're going to need at least to do 35 to make it later in this race for a 1 stop in the final stage. And I think that's very doable with the 55% fuel load here, because with a full tank, you're looking around 60, maybe 62 laps here.
If you can make it,
always pitting this time.
That 1 stop, that's going to be absolutely crucial. But it looks like now it might be just a little bit short of that 1 stop.
That's interesting, man. It's very critical.
Well, looking at everybody cycling around now, Nathan Campbell up to 12th position. Casey Kuntz 2 spots behind him. So Casey standing to gain quite a bit from this cycle of pit stops once it all goes through. Now we've got Bob Fitzpatrick, Harold Rothery, and Kevin Dowd coming down pit road. James Catrone still out on the racetrack. I wonder if he was laying back, trying to save a little bit of fuel here, trying to maybe stretch it to the end of this thing to win this stage.
Yeah, he's definitely stretched it here the most. I mean, this is lap 35, so this is showing you can do it. You can stretch the fuel at least. I mean, how much time are you giving up? We'll have to see. We also did have someone out there in the chat rooting Catrone on. As they said, the Italian Stallion, James Catrone. I like that. That's a new nickname for the Italian Stallion. I think he'll be hit pit road this time. Yes, he will.
Well, stretched it pretty far, about 2 laps farther than anybody else did. Now we're going to have Andrew Little passing him as he makes his pit stop. But this cycle in the lead now, back to GT over Hunter Hayward. Travis Everett, though, moved up to the 4th position under this pit cycle. He will be in 3rd once the field gets back around James.
Yeah, and in clean air, he's actually producing some good lap times. 30.83 to Hunter Hayward's 30.89. GT's 30.71. So some good lap times there from Everett. So, you know, as this race goes on, I expect Everett to figure it out more and more. So we'll see what he can do as the run goes on. But Stallings here, he's got to win this season, so he's locked himself into those playoffs. He's right now running that 8th spot, right directly ahead of the 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick.
And Zach, thinking about it, not only did that allow James Catrone to stretch the fuel just a little bit longer and kind of prove that, hey, I can maybe make this one stop viable for the end of the race, he also led some laps. It's going to be some bonus points in his favor. I had to make a note to go ahead and write those down so I didn't forget about it a little bit later on. But stage just about to come to a close here.
Yeah, we're nearing that end for sure here, man, as we're coming by to complete lap 37, so we got 3 to go here in the stage. GT, 9/10 of a second lead over Hunter Hayward. Right now, their lap time's almost dead, even 30.83 out front to a 30.78 behind. Travis Everett behind them, 30.94. So really good times for the top 3. Most other drivers back here in the 30s, 31s. Looks like Jeff Carson, another driver. Actually, no, Craig A. Burns, a driver in the 30s. So he's looking strong as we got to battle Fitzpatrick here and Stallings.
Dustin Stallings, first one of the drivers to come down pit road. Bob Fitzpatrick still cycled back out to the 8th position, kind of holding steady for the 3 car so far, just trying to gain that extra position, but not really doing too much on the high side there. Gave up just a little bit. Going to get a decent run here, but I think if I'm Fitzpatrick, just kind of hanging out now, hoping to not abuse tires too much and not put yourself in a position that you might end up getting wrecked.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, you know, back at those pit stops that we had, 'cause this is the white flag now for the stage, but back at the pit stops we had Andrew Little with that big mistake. He's a lap down. Nathan Campbell also, he got heavy nose damage from all that. He's in 9th right now. It looks to be somewhat falling backwards.
And looking at this point like he's going to be able to get at least 2 bonus points, so it's still benefiting him, but unfortunately not the run that he was having with that nose damage, and especially disastrous for that of Andrew Little, who was in the top 5 now, 25th a lap down as the stage is going to be coming to a close here.
There it is. Stage caution is Al's waiting for there, and GT's going to win stage number 1. What has this guy not won the past few weeks? I mean, he is, I mean, he didn't win last week technically, but, you know, he was right there battling for the win each and every week lately. He's looking to carry a lot of momentum into these playoffs with another stage victory for that 14.
And now it's going to be the interesting part to see which one of these guys, you know, do they decide not to take tires here on this stage as well? Or, you know, you've got guys like Andrew Little who took that left side only. He's a lap down. But how is that going to affect him later in the race, just having that extra set of rights sitting around? Might be able to take advantage of them, but that's really a very, very short run strategy that you want to play there with those 2 tires.
Yeah, we got definitely some interesting strategies playing out there for sure, man. But we're gonna see these guys come down here on pit road. We'll see what they do. I think tires is gonna be done because if you take tires here at this point, you take them again at the next stage at 80, then you're going to have to take another set one more time, and that sets you up perfectly for having one extra set for this race. So I think tires here are going to be smart.
I'd have to say so as well. The pace fall off is really big. And it was over a second what we saw for guys on older tires that had still yet to pit versus guys that were coming off pit road and just cooling their tires down alone. So I'm thinking if you decide to try to take that extra, not take a set here to save just an extra one for the very end, it's going to be faster, but I think you're just going to give up too much time or too much track position and not have quite enough time to use it, especially if you decide to give up track position to take tires twice. Might be a little bit too much risky business there. Might as well go ahead and slap them on now, as we see pretty much everybody does.
Yes, no, they didn't. The leaders did not.
Why do you do this?
Yeah, they did not take tires here, so I'm interested by it. With 5 sets of tires, that's going to be interesting. But let's go ahead and get GT from Slide Job Racing down here and have a chat with him about winning stage number 1 here tonight. Here's GT. Here is your stage 1 winner.
Hey, GT, Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, man, congratulations on getting this stage 1 win here. The points don't matter, but whipping up on the young whippersnapper there of Hunter Hayward to get this stage win, man. First thing I got to ask you, why no tires? It is boggling me.
Travis and I were about arguing on TeamSpeak about whether to take them or not, and and I kept telling him, I was like, dude, we got 4 sets, and no matter how you slice it, we're gonna end up with 2 for the final stage. But he convinced me to not do it, and which it looks like there's a lot of people that made the same decision. So it may actually just work out. So now's the question whether if we break it in half for fuel, since we can't make it, and go ahead and take them in just to try and get a jump and I don't know, possibly win the stage. Really, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it works out, man.
Well, next question I'm going to have for you is, it looked like when you during that run before the pit stop, you were able to get to the back bumper of Hunter Hayward, and it seemed like once you got within that 0.2 of a second gap, it just kind of stalled you out a little bit, able to take advantage of his mistake on pit road. But how much is that dirty air killing you once you're you catch a guy and no longer have all that clean air?
Come on, guys. I was just getting in that boy's head as I was doing, man. I wouldn't think I can't pass him, but yeah, now in all seriousness, once we did take the lead, I mean, we were fine, but as soon as I started catching up to those lap cars, I mean, the nose just it had no downforce on the nose, and I mean it was hard to keep it in turn, at the rate that I was going. So yeah, the dirty air does matter.
Well, Bud, thank you for talking with us here. Let you get back down there as you guys imagine getting ready to go 1 to green here. So wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you can keep that thing clean, and we might be able to talk to you for stage 2.
And I think this is going to be pretty interesting right here on how this is going to roll with the mixed bag of tire strategy here. So we'll see.
All right, that was GT, and yeah, Everett might have convinced him, Brandon, to not take tires. It seems like he convinced Hayward, Karsten also not to take tires, but I gotta say I don't like the call personally, just because you do have an extra set of tires for that final stage already with 5 sets here tonight. So technically they really didn't need to do that, but in all seriousness here, I think they'll be fine. It's just you never know. With the cautions, it might play out to be the right strategy, but I'm never a person that wants to bank my strategy on guaranteed cautions. We know there's a caution at the stage. That's a guaranteed caution, but we don't know about any other caution after that. So that's my kind of ruling there. But man, I see where they're going with it. This is a similar strategy they've ran every week, but usually that's to save an extra set. But now they're going to have 2 extra sets technically. I don't think you're going to use those 2 extra sets. We'll see. You never know in racing, but man, they're going to have a lot of hungry wolves behind them with fresh tires, Brandon. This could get dangerous.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure to see how these guys with fresher tires are able to navigate the slower traffic with the older tires. But like you said, I feel like you're just giving up free advantage by not taking tires here for stage 1. Have to see how it goes. during this stage as it plays out. But they're back to green as Hunter Hayward takes off, and Jeff Carson getting a really good jump as well now to the inside of GT.
Yes, sir, they are down to turn 1. Hayward, great start for them. And the top 4, remember, on old tires here, doing a great job at the moment. I'm unsure which car will be on the first set of tires. I believe Carey also on the other tires. Ooh, we got a slider back there. I believe that was, looks like Craig Burns. Oh, no, sorry, no, it was not. Cabin Ruff in the 112. He was slipping and sliding there in 1 and 2, and it threw up kind of somewhat of a smoke show as they came off the corner. But, yeah, right now, Hayward's still holding on to this. Let's see where the first set of tires start to come from.
It looks like it's going to be Craig Burns, the first car on the newer tires. Maybe even Nolan Potter now. Nolan Potter making the pass on Craig Burns to be the first car with fresher tires up to 5th position, and they are getting aggressive.
They got to be smart here. They got the tires. They just got to use the advantage to their best of their ability. Potter here working the inside with Burns right in tow here as we ride on that board. But, man, I tell you what, the tires aren't, amazingly too much faster, but they are definitely quicker.
If you can get the position of somebody on the inside there, you can really make the move. And now 3 wide under Jeff Carson and Stephen Carey. Yeah, Nolan Potter says, you know what, guys, I am pushing my advantage here with these fresh tires, and makes it stick. Jeff Carson giving a little bit of leeway there to make sure they got through cleanly. But now Craig Burns all over the back of the 9, a little bit of a bump there coming out of turn 4.
Well, what's interesting here is, with Hayward, Irizarry, they didn't take tires under their green flag stop. Carey did what I think might have been the optimal strategy here, Brandon, is take tires at the pit stop. He took them at lap 32. So now look at him. He's up to the 3rd position, going to be taking 2nd, and on not that much older tires than the rest of the guys who took tires behind him.
He's going to be at a slight disadvantage, but far less of a disadvantage than guys like Hunter Hayward, GT, and Travis Everett. Speaking of GT and Travis Everett, have fallen to the 7th and 8th and 9th positions for the 2 slide job racing teammates that decided to stay out on those older tires. Hunter Hayward, definitely the best car on old tires right now, only dropped back to now the 4th position with Craig Burns and James Catrone. And James Catrone really taking advantage now, looking to break into the top 5 here in stage 2.
Yeah, man, this is the strategy. I mean, this is the interesting thing GT and them are putting themselves into. The guys who did not take tires, this is what you put yourself into. I worry about putting yourself back here. This is not an easy place to pass, man. It gets tough and dirty air. You burn your tires up following people. So putting yourself back in this bad track position could be an issue here later. As you see Hayward, he continues to slip back, but he's done a better job than the rest of the group behind him. As Jeff Carson right now is still hanging on pretty well, but GT and Travis Everett both slipping back. But that you got to be smart about how you slip back. GT and them, it might look like they're slipping back faster, but they're probably playing that the smart way to let guys go. Sometimes you need to let people go on new tires, and you just can't run your line, or you'll get ran over. So, they're doing a good job of that.
Absolutely. They're falling back quickly, but that is absolutely by design, keeping themselves out of unnecessary trouble, just making sure everybody that's got fresher tires that's trying to pass them can do it flawlessly and effortlessly. Now Jeff Carson struggling a lot, as even GT and Travis Everett are all over the back of the 9 car. Not sure if Jeff Carson has a problem, maybe some damage, but definitely a lot more off the pace than I was expecting.
I'll tell you what, too, with us going back green on lap 45, going to 80, that's only 35 laps. Can someone stretch it on fuel? We've seen Catrone do it.
He was the only one that we saw that was able to run that far. My worry is he pit immediately, and to be able to stretch it that far, he's going to have to essentially cut the car off the second he comes across the line. And hope that he's got enough fuel to get back to pit road and then not make any mistakes getting into his box, because he's for sure going to be sputtering at that point.
Very valid point there, Brandon. You got to come back around. Just completing 35 is not going to be enough. You're going to need to complete 35 to be able to roll to 36.
Yeah, I mean, you only need to make 35 for the checkered flag, but toward the stage breaks, you're going to need to make 36 realistically.
valid point for my partner in crime up here. Thank you everybody for tuning in, as it's been a pleasure up here in the booth as these drivers work their way through the field. Oh man, we're right on board here with Travis Everett. I almost had a heart attack. That was so intense.
Yeah, they're back in the Hornet's Nest now, not a position they found themselves in this far back in the field at this point in the race. And guys are just, even being off pace, not contending with them up in the front, the fresh tires still going to have the speed over them, and they're having a much harder time navigating these guys that are on the slower tires, taking a little bit more chances in doing so as well.
Now, Brandon, did anybody get critical stage points there that needed those? And did you get those added up? Because what are we looking like now? Because I know Andrew Little was in a good spot here. He went a lap down with that penalty. He's back up to 16th now on the lead lap, and passing Hayward now to go to 15th in that 68. So he's doing good in this stage here. But, man, at the same time, didn't get the stage points he needed there.
Well, looking at it, the only one to get stage points out of the drivers that are on that bubble is going to be Campbell. He gained 2 points, but also during all that, Catrone was able to lead a lap to gain 1 point if traditional points for leading a lap is the way they tally them. That'll be an extra point for him. But the position between those 6 drivers not changed at all by those points. But right now, Nathan Campbell up to 2nd position. Harold Watkins, 6th position. Casey Kuntz now up to 8th position. James Catrone was running really strong in the top 10, now falling back to 11th. And then Anthony Yunez in 13th behind him. Andrew Little rebounding to 15th. So still, they're relatively close to each other on the track. And the difference, especially Casey Kuntz, the one that needed to make up 38 points over Anthony Yunez to crack into the top 16. He's going to need to do a little bit better, but the rest of them pretty much holding station over each other right now, not giving up too many points.
That is some crazy info there from you, man. I tell you what, there's so many guys right there in a position to get critical points that they need. We'll have to see how it all plays out. With coming next time by will be 20 to go in stage number 2. We're looking for lap number 80. And I tell you what, Brandon, I was just thinking about the strategy. If you took tires this time under that stage caution, what I'm doing here to keep my track position and keep myself in a good spot, I want to stretch this fuel as far as I go. I'm going to try to get to 78, 79 there, and then pit in, and then take my tires, come out, and kind of drive the car somewhat easy from there on out the next 2 laps, and then stay out during that stage. I think that'll be a good strategy for guys who have already taken a set of tires under that first stage.
And I like the call. It seems like right now the track position has been pretty key, especially on even tires. If you've got even pace, you want to be that lead car if you can help it at all. And you're going to have slightly worn tires, even babying the car around for those couple laps before the end of the stage. But if you can just keep pace and not burn them up, trying to keep too hard to keep pace, by the time everything plateaus, you're going to be sitting with pretty good position and have a good gauge for when the rest of the guys come in for their pit stop during the last bit of the race here, and have a good chance to undercut or maybe even stretch it and try to see if maybe you can catch a caution and get even better track position. So I think that is a really good plan to try to stretch it that far and come out and stay out for the caution, the stage caution, with some slightly worn tires, but for the most part pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, think about Stephen Carey. He did that, but I'm talking he pitted 8 laps before the stage caution. So think if you could pit 2 or 3 before, I think that's a really smart move for a few of these guys. He's holding on to 5th still as Casey Kuntz is continuing forward. And at 31, he's going to look to take the top 5 position. And guys that needed good runs tonight are having those, and they're getting points. So guys thought about this race, Brandon. They did their homework and said, I need stage points. What strategy can I play? I love this. This is exactly how a regular season finale should be when it comes down to a cut line this close as this.
Well, Casey Kuntz, he's running toward the front now, taking advantage of some of the strategies that other guys have used and gained some track position here. Sitting 5th right now, midway for the stage points, but with the position that Casey Kuntz is in, 38 points back from Anthony Yunez, who himself is just a couple points out. I have to feel like if I'm Casey, I'm thinking I've got to win one of these stages, when hope that some of the other guys, especially Anthony Yunez, don't get any stage points. So far, Anthony is not, still sitting outside the top 10, for the second stage in the 12th position. But it's going to help getting a handful of stage points, but you need to maximize those and go out and win one of these stages.
Riding on board here with David Hall in the 21 machine at the moment, as he's right now in that 9th position. Great run from him, 25th up to 10th. Sorry about that as he crossed the line. Chad B. Sr. just got by him. But when do pit stops start happening? Because I think someone's going to try to stretch the fuel, Brandon, but I don't think anybody will.
I'm thinking, you know, if I'm GT or Travis, seeing how far back that they have fallen, having that extra set of tires, I might pit early, put tires on it, and then come back in for the stage and put tires on it again and cycle back to the front and keep their track position. I think that's a smart choice, but then at the same time, they could have just taken tires at the stage and not had to worry about doing that type of thing to begin with. But I imagine we're going to see some guys try to undercut it, like we saw Stephen Carey do just under 10 laps earlier than most guys, than the majority of guys did. And, you know, Stephen Carey, it's worked out pretty well for him. I think some guys are going to be paying attention to that and might be trying that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what they do. You know, like you said there, Brandon, they could do that strategy, but it is literally just kind of they already made their bed, they got to lay in it type of deal, where they need to personally, they might as well just wait at this point and just have that extra set, because it's going to be tough for the amount of time left for them to get too much ground. I mean, if they pitted right now, it would be a huge undercut, and it would probably work out pretty well. But it's still, you know, nearing 10 to go here. It's tough. It's a tough decision from their part. They've already made that decision, and they're just going to have to work their way back up once this final stage starts.
Yeah, that type of a strategy, it's kind of just an unnecessary step for the same result. And I'm getting now calls, Zach Strittenwald coming in, and it sounds like James Catrone in the 38 coming down pit road as well. And also looking out at the YouTube chat here, guys, throwing out some fun facts. You guys out there watching us, throwing out fun facts, getting some chuckles out of the production booth up here. So thank you guys for hanging out with us, and hope you guys are enjoying the race up to this point. Still got a little ways to go, but stage 2 winding down here.
It's definitely winding down, my friend, as we are already 10 to go here in this stage. As Noah Potter now down into 1. Casey Coates, we look at him, he's up to that 3rd position right in front of Bob Fitzpatrick. He's got Kevin Ruff up ahead. What a run for him here in stage number 2. I'd say if a few of these guys can keep some track position, you know, a lot of times I feel like guys have bad races due to really just bad qualifying, you know, and they just can't make up the positions they need. If you get them up front, I feel like a lot more guys would perform well. I think you're going to see a few of these guys who've used this different strategy be very well off. As Carey hits pit road again, 8 laps before the end of the stage, so he liked the strategy he played. He's coming back down.
Yeah, and it's also, if you can qualify up front, you've got a lot more opportunity to see what the guys that are fast are doing and be able to adjust to it and increase the pace yourself. When you're running in the back of the field, you qualify in the back, you're basing your speed and your line based on what they're doing, and they're going to be off pace from the guys that are running at the front. And it just kind of puts you in that box where you feel like you're going fast and you're getting everything out of it, because you're judging that on guys that are not able to get everything out of it as well. So being able to qualify up front goes a long way for overall race pace, for sure.
Well, we are now on lap 73 of 150 here tonight for the Folds of Honor 150 here at the RSR Cup Series season finale for the regular season. Before we head off into our playlist, looks like Craig A. Burns from 3rd place. He's going to hit pit road here on lap 73. Kevin Ruff, also the 31 of Casey Hughes. We'll see what they do. What decisions do they make? Do they take tires? Do they wait to take tires at the stage? I think if you're pitting this early, you might as well wait till the stage to take tires.
I think that's probably a good call. There's just no reason to slap a set on now. It's just too much wear on the tires. You can't afford to baby it that long with this type of an undercut. And like you said, Casey Kuhn's coming down now. Anthony Muniz and James Catrone already hitting pit road. Should be able to leapfrog the 31 under this cycle. But I'm concerned now with Nathan Campbell and Harold Watkins, two guys that are still trying to maximize their points, staying out pretty long now in the first and second position. Although Nathan Campbell was out there on outright pace, Harold Watkins playing some strategy to get up there. By far our biggest mover, up 22 spots. Going to be interested to see when they come down. Now it looks like Nolan Potter going to be cycling down pit road. Still quite a few, over half the field now, still yet to come down for their pit stop.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of guys pit, but at the same time, Nathan Campbell and Harold Watkins staying out here. I like this. This is what I'm saying, Brandon. You know, if he could stretch it another lap or two, he could take tires here under this green flag stop and then not have to pit in that stage, and he'll be in not a terrible position. You know, 2 to 3 laps on the tires is not a crazy disadvantage. Yes, is a disadvantage. As here he is coming to pit road this time, so lap 76. So he's going to have 4 laps on the tires if he takes them this time. We'll see what he does. But at the same time, if he's not taking tires, he's not losing time by waiting to pit. He can actually take less fuel, gain some time on the pit stop. And, you know, you're not gaining anything. These guys out here that racing with are still in old tires.
Yeah, there's a lot of different approaches, and it's making it more and more confusing as this race has gone on to try to figure out who's got the advantage and who's potentially playing the right strategy. But there's just so much that these guys can do and are doing right now, shaking up a strategy. Now we've got Chad Biesinger, Hunter Hayward, Bob Fitzpatrick coming down, Kevin Sabilla as well. Harold Watkins coming down this time. Andrew Little going to follow him. So David Hall going to cycle to the lead in the 21. And GT and Travis Everett, I think they just with the slower pace might be able to save enough fuel to get to the end here, knowing that they didn't have to worry about trying to maintain track position. They could focus on saving fuel.
I mean, if you were at the very beginning of the run focusing on saving fuel, they possibly could make it work. As, Irizarry and Everett both saving mega amounts of fuel here. Irizarry's a few car lengths ahead. Looks like Irizarry going to be coming to pit road this time, actually. No. Looked like he was making the maneuver to go down there. Does not pit this time, so completes stat lap 78. 2 to go here in stage number 2. Looking to get that second stage victory, but he's got to get by David Hall in the 21 right now, who is up here about 3.3 seconds ahead of GT, but running about a second slower.
He is saving a ton of fuel right now. We almost had a big moment as well during the trial where Harold Rotheray in the 33 caught the fence, almost got into Nathan Campbell, which would have been disastrous for the 52 as he's finally now gotten back up into stage points position.
Ooh, white flag here for David Hall. In the stage number 2, Hunter Hayward unlaps himself right on board here. Sorry. Do these guys have enough fuel? We'll see going down the back straightaway. You see there's the leader, David Hall, up there. He's looking for his first stage victory of the season. He comes through 3 and 4 here. Does he have enough Sunoco fuel in this race car? It sounds like it's up to power. He comes out of 4. Irizarry closing in, but he's going to do it. Winner of stage number 2 here tonight is David Hall. Congratulations to him, as he was able to pull off a master job there to get that stage victory and save the fuel he needed. Now the question is, can he make it back? And I think GT has already got by him since Hall is pretty much out of fuel. He is out of gas.
Now I wonder if because he came across the line for that lap, he'll still be scored the winner, or if it's at the time of the caution. I would imagine it's at the line, but if Ryan Azell is listening, if we can get some clarification on that, that would be great.
Yeah, actually, I would believe technically it should be him. I mean, he crossed the line at lap 80. So I believe David Hall should have the stage victory there. I mean, it would all be for nothing at that point then.
Absolutely. Well, this kind of messed me up a little bit as to where the stage points went, but I think Nathan Campbell was the only driver again to get stage points, and I believe he only was able to get 9th or 10th again.
Ludi got some stage points also, but he's has to win pretty much. So interesting stuff playing out here, but we're having drivers hit pit road now. It's interesting pit road. We got situations with stuff going on because it's so spread out now with these cautions and with pit sequence happening right before GT's going to hit pit road. He's going to be able to take tires and fuel and I think easily make it out with the lead. So it worked out really well for those guys. But I believe David Hall, I believe he's already out of pit road and right around the racetrack. I don't know if we got confirmation on that, but I believe he should be our stage winner. If I believe correctly, he's gonna come back down pit road. We'll let him do that, and then we'll have a chat with him because man, what a call from him in the 21 if it turns out he's our stage winner.
Well, it shows that if you can stretch it that far, absolutely for the end of the race. You can get about 36 laps out of it and coast across the line. So that's something, I don't know if you're going to want to be showing your hand that early and showing these guys, hey, this can be done. But it was a great job, and if you can make that happen, you can absolutely steal a win later on.
Well, I'll tell you what. You also is going to help with these caution laps here. We're not going to have technically 70 to go here once we can go back green. So it's going to be a little bit easier. I think it's going to be a very easily one-stoppable, especially if you're saving fuel under this caution. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and bring up David Hall. As I imagine, he is our Stage 2 victor here tonight from Fly Boys Racing. What a win for him there to bring home his first stage victory of the season. Here's David Hall in the 21 machine, guys.
Hey, David, it's Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. How are you guys?
Well, man, doing pretty good, but imagine you a little bit better able to coast it back around there after pretty sure you were the one awarded the stage win, crossing the line for the lap there, but man, able to stretch it farther than really anybody we've seen so far, just enough to get back to your pit stall. A little bit in the back pocket for the rest of the race, but how's the race been going for you so far?
I was just throwing the whole house at it tonight. I'm out of right now. I'm on the outside looking in on playoffs. I think I'm 22nd in playoffs. So anything that I can try to do to gain as much points as I possibly can tonight, I'll do it. And I'll say that was pretty sketchy. That was very sketchy. Because I knew it would be close. I knew I was coming. I saw GT coming. I know he was obviously saving gas. I just, if he got it, great. If I got it, awesome. But I was just doing everything I can to get a stage win, first one this year. So, hopefully I can get back up to the front, but we'll see.
Well, it's looking like strategy is going to be the name of the game. A lot of different strategies out there on track right now, and I think yours being pretty much the most extreme of them, it's definitely entertaining to watch. And like you said, first stage win of the season so far, so congratulations on that as well. And man, it's been absolutely interesting, and hopefully we can see you get back up to the front there by the end of this thing, man. Let you get back down there, and wish you the best of luck, and we'll be keeping a close eye on you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there was David Hall from Fly Boys Racing getting that stage 2 victory here tonight at Texas in the regular season finale. Congrats to him. But GT now at the lead. Craig Burns second. Third is Travis Everett. I believe everybody should be on brand new tires. Look at Ryan Ezel up at 9.
Hey, Ryan's having a really good run. Up 20 positions.
That he is. It looks like the pace car lights are also. We will be going green this time. Hunter Hayward was the one bit by all this strategy really the most. Remember, he, led majority of our first stage, got second in that first stage, and then after that, he was not able to save enough fuel like Travis Everett and GT did. He didn't have that in the back of the mind to play that strategy. He's lost out the most from this. He's going to restart in 12th.
Yeah, just a little bit off on his strategy compared to the guys that were on the same strategy at the time from him. A little bit of miscommunication on the restart here. Guys getting black flags, so we're going to have to clear all that up as well. But they're back to green now for the last half of this race. GT leading the field, Travis Everett second. Craig Burns looking to hold fast in that third position, but Nathan Campbell up to fourth again, having a great run for the 52.
That he is. Nathan Campbell needing that too. Oh, whoa, GT up the racetrack. Unsure if that was just a little bit of a loose feeling from him. That lets Everett get to the inside here. Teammate now going to that inside lane. Craig A. Burns trying to slide in there, but GT says, no, I'm going to slide in the second right behind my teammate. And I'm sure he'll be making a move here pretty quickly, try to get back by his, that clean air. We talked to him. He liked it.
It's definitely going to be what's most beneficial. And the cold tires, it's something that I've struggled quite a bit with. You have cold tires on a cold track, and they take a little bit longer to get warmed up, and you have so much grip with the colder track temps that the limit of the tires you always seem to be able to exceed it so much easier than you can in at day conditions where the track's just a little bit more up to temp. Forced me to back off just a little bit, but great job GT, able to hold on to the car there, really not lose much in terms of track position, but also I got to give a shout out to the entire field here. We have not had a caution for car contact so far. Everybody keeping it incredibly clean here with the cold tires and just how easy it is to step over that limit on the colder tires on these restarts. It's been great so far, and it's really kept the strategy up in the air.
Yeah, I tell you what, Travis Everett having a little bit of a connection issues right now. Hopefully that clears up for him as he's been disappearing and reappearing a few times there in that 59. He is locked into the playoffs, so doesn't have anything to worry about there, but definitely always a concern, especially heading into the playoffs next week. You don't want to see that reoccur for him. But Jeff Carson in the 9, he's going forward quickly. Hunter Hayward, he's worked his way quickly back up into that top 7 as he's behind Nolan Potter now and really hasn't lost much ground. Right now, GT's got Everett all behind him now, and Carson's to the inside of Everett. It's really a battle up here with lap 90 being complete this time by.
Well, Jeff Carson caught a little bit of the apron, opened up the door for Craig Burns to get a run. Going to bump him down the backstretch here. Looks like going to still be able to maintain position on the inside over Travis Everett. And we know how good Jeff Carson is at these 1.5 miles. He was really strong in Charlotte even before he got the damage, but inevitably went on to win that race on tire strategy anyway. But before that, definitely was in contention regardless of any type of damage. And showing that speed again here at Texas. A little bit of a different beast at Texas than it is at somewhere like Charlotte or Atlanta. But it's really not mattering much to the driver of the 9.
I tell you what, man, he has been so impressive in the Cup Series. He's just been lights out each and every week. He's going for the lead, man. Remember last week he took the lead at Michigan, got involved in an incident immediately after that. But he's taking the lead once again here. Jeff Carson, very strong here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway after running in that top 3 in the ARCA Series, being really the fastest man on the long run there. Here he's looking really strong on the short run in the Cup car.
And back to the lead here. Travis Everett able to get underneath GT as well while that pass was taking place. But now Everett stuck on the outside for turns 3 and 4. Geez, my tongue is getting tied. And it seems like the outside lane still at this point in the race, not really having much grip in 3 and 4. 1 and 2, it's a little bit better. You can carry a pretty good run, but you've got to be able to clear the guy on your inside. Now Travis Everett going to be able to carry that run out of turn 2 over Craig Burns to make sure he's not going to get stuck on the outside in 3 and 4 again.
Man, it's really stacking up right now all the way back to Casey Coots and the 31 machine back to 11th. It's only 1.5 seconds with Carson out front. You're seeing Hayward trying to make a move on Potter back there also. It's really stacked up and nobody getting away from each other this run. Everybody knows this is the go time of the race. We've seen a lot more separation early in this race. I'm really surprised how different the racing is later in the race.
I think it's everybody understanding that, hey, we're going to have the 2 stages. You've got to make it through the stages to really get the race going, just trying to set up good track position, not taking too many chances, being a lot more patient and willing to run single file and not try to be side by side for every single position. But now, like you said, the final part of this race, there's no more guaranteed cautions. If a caution happens, it's going to be because a lot of guys are junked up against the outside wall. So you kind of got to be a little bit more aggressive and be willing to use a little bit more of your tires. And I think we're seeing that exactly with the front runners all the way back to about the 8th position here, as they are absolutely stacking up on each other, just nose to tail through turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's really letting Carson and Irizarry get a little bit away. Oh, Hayward making a pretty aggressive move almost into the back of the 52, as the 52 did not want to get that position up. Oh, and there's Everett back. He's 3 wide up top. Oh, man, his blinking is definitely getting him into some bad positions. He's going to go up high. I think let a lot of these guys go. That's just heads-up maneuver from Travis Everett. That is a great driver right there and a great sportsman, as he knows he's having connection issues. He's going to let all these guys do battle and not try to affect anybody's playoff run.
Yeah, especially considering the position that he is in. There's no reason for him to. He doesn't need to go out and win this race. He doesn't even need to finish anywhere but last place. He's absolutely locked in. So just getting out of the way, letting these guys go, trying to figure out what's going on with the connection. And it's something I've noticed out of Travis Everett the last couple weeks, but by far this week being the worst that it has been. Hopefully he can get that sorted before the playoffs like you talked about later. That's definitely not something you want to have happen when you're in a situation like the knockout playoffs, and you can't afford to really have bad races, especially one that's no fault of your own with your internet maybe kicking you out of the server. But man, these guys still battling. Like you talked about, top three really kind of checked out from each other, but from about 4th position to 9th, they are still right on top of each other. Casey Coons now up to the 10th position, trying to slowly reel these guys in ahead of him.
Tell you what, Hayward, he's been driving forward quickly. He goes to the inside of Carson down in the 1 and 2. Carson opens up the entry here. Let's see if Hayward has the run off that bottom lane. Usually very strong. But Carson did a good job to get down the back straightaway. Irizarry goes up the racetrack. That's going to give the 9 a little bit of a draft. But here is where the bottom is going to prevail. Down in the 3 and 4, that bottom lane is just way too strong with it being wide open. And he is going to take that 2nd position. Irizarry now has his somewhat of a rival during the race here now, as Hayward's back up in 2nd.
Well, it seems like it's been the story of Hunter Hayward and GT Irizarry the last 3 weeks or so. Those two have been the two that have been battling the hardest amongst each other, trading back and forth for who's going to win and who's going to finish 2nd. And I also want to point out, Zach, I don't know if you noticed, Jeff Carson gave the 48 just a little bit more room this week than he did last week after their incident together at Michigan. So just a little poking fun at some of the incidents in the last couple weeks here. But Jeff Carson still running really strong in 3rd, but Craig Burns has been hounding him ever since he dropped back to 3rd, trying to find some way to get around the 9 to move into the 3rd position. Craig Burns, I've got to say, he's been having a pretty good run. Qualified 4th, running 4th now, but been up and down a bit on strategy, but finding his way back toward the front.
Yeah, Craig Burns is really been consistent, and he was one of the drivers that was really good in the long run in that 1st stage. So we're going to watch. If he can get by Carson here, he may have a shot to keep up with Hayward and Irizarry here if they start to gap these guys a little bit. Because, man, I'll tell you what, he literally had some really good pace on that long run. Was one of the only other drivers in the 30s, while Irizarry and Hayward were out front, in the 30s. Everybody else was in the 31s. So he kept pace with them. We'll see if he can do something here with Carson this year.
And it begins.
Oh. Hayward hit pit road here on lap 102.
He's trying an off-the-wall strategy here. The only one coming down. Called it out during the back stretch that he was coming in. Everybody, great job getting around him. We'll have to see. This is going to be a pretty extreme undercut and see how this plays out. But this kind of makes it into the realm where he's not going to be able to make it on a 1-stop. Definitely going to have to do a 2-stopper here at this point.
I'm a little bit speechless. I just don't see that working. You're going to give up a lap here, and a chunk of change, about a lap and a half of time. Not only you're not going to make that up in almost 46 laps, and it's just not very likely. Especially that's not a very good cut down the middle for you. It's definitely an interesting strategy. I mean, unless he is for sure he cannot make it on fuel, that would be the only way I'm stopping this early to do a 2-stopper, because I've seen a few other guys do it, like Andrew Little, Stephen Carey coming down, but I'm thinking the 1-stop should be very viable. I mean, we're looking at 70 laps to go. When we took that stage 2 caution, we ran 5 laps probably under a caution. That takes 5 laps out of the equation right there. So that's really, you don't even have to go 35 laps. I mean, and we've seen people do that during the last run there, Brandon. I mean, for me, this is a no-brainer of a 1-stop. But I mean, for a few guys out there, it's looking like a good handful of guys looking to go to the 2-stop.
I think it's just a matter of if you were going to do the one stop, you had to be committed to it from the drop of the green flag. And Hunter Hayward, GT, these guys have been pushing really hard, not even trying to save any type of fuel to be able to ensure that they can make the one stop. But you'll see right now, Hunter Hayward, he has been slicing through the field now with these fresher tires, just trying to get backed up toward the front. Now going to go by Biesinger as well in the 23. Looks like Catrone just ahead of him at 11. So tires are making a difference, but I think that extra pit stop is just going to be one too many. I'd have to agree with you that the one stop, I think you've just got to plan and give up the time to make that happen, as it's the way to go. Anybody that's going to be able to pull that off, that's going to be a winning strategy.
Man, I just yeah, man, this one really intrigues my brain, man. Let's just say, I mean, you're looking at about 65 laps is what you're going to have to do. So, I mean, really, you're just going to need to do 32 and a 33 lap run. I think that's easily doable. If you can make 35 laps work, you could make 32 or 33 work. So, I just do not see that strategy of two-stopping working out for these guys. I think you're going to see the other group of drivers, they're going to go to about 117, 118. When you start seeing them pit. If you can make it to 118, I'm very confident for you making it to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot easier of a task to make it a one stop than it had been to make it to the end of the stages. But even then, we saw that there were guys that were able to stretch enough fuel to make it to the end of the stages. And sure, you're able to be a little bit more aggressive with your tires, and that's really the only benefit I see, is you're not having to worry about taking care of them all that much. You can go pretty much hammer down knowing that you're going to be having that extra pit stop over what everybody else is going to have. You're not having to worry about saving fuel and maybe running just a little bit slower. But I think it's just giving up too much time on pit road that you're not going to be able to gain back with that extra pit stop. It's going to be the problem. We'll have to see. But it doesn't look like there's very many people that are on this same strategy. I thought maybe the saving grace was going to be that Hunter Hayward had kind of pulled some guys down pit road with him, but it was only a handful. I thought if more people came down with him, it might work out pretty well. Everybody else looking like they're going to go for that one-stop strategy.
Well, we'll see how that plays out here as we're looking through the field at the moment. You see Zach Schrinthal there in the 2. That man, unfortunately, did not have the greatest start to the race as he disconnected. But I tell you what, for a man who disconnected from the grid, missed the start, he's in the 5th place right now. He has been driving the wheels off this thing to get back in position. So shout out to Zach Schrinthal for getting back into the top 5.
Yeah, took advantage of the stage cautions, able to get the lucky dog there and put himself back on the lead lap, and showing that he absolutely has the pace to be up here contending with these guys. 5th position. Pretty good run. He qualified. He's up 8 spots from where he qualified, but unfortunately had to drive up a lot farther than that to get to where he's at right now. As then you see it's Hunter Hayward on his fresh tires flying around trying to get and unlap himself. But man, some guys are really taking advantage of some misfortunes and ill-timed strategies and pit stops as well. You know, talk about Harold Watkins. He's up to the 12th position, up 12 spots right now. James Catrone was running up toward the front a little while ago, just behind him in the 13th position. David Hall, our stage 2 winner, up to the 15th position, up 10. And that's one of the drivers especially that is going to be trying to play that strategy and stretch it just a little bit farther than everybody else, and because he knows firsthand that he can make it that far.
Oh, we can see right here, 114. We're starting this lap, so we are now 113 laps complete in this event. We are nearing that point where 35 laps. So when they complete 115, we've seen someone stretch it 35 laps. So 115, it tells me that someone could stretch it. They're going to have to save a lot of fuel. Any more laps you can give me after 115, that is just money in the bank.
Absolutely. If you can, the farther you can stretch it, the better you're going to be off after that pit stop. And you can try the undercut, but you've got to be very aware of what your limit is and how much you're going to have to save to maybe stretch it if you pit maybe a lap earlier than what you're going to be able to make it. If you can get to a position where you can pit and maybe undercut some guys and not have to worry about saving fuel, that's ideally what you want to try to do. Now we've got Zach Schrinthal and Harold Watkins on pit road. So more and more of the field started to come in. Dustin Stallings pitting looked like from the 4th position. So now guys up at the front starting to trickle into pit road.
I tell you what, 35 to go. Hunter Hayward, remember his 2-stop strategy. He's now just about to unlap himself from the 14 of GT Irizarry. And there he goes under the 14 to unlap himself. But GT's coming to back a complete lap 116 here. 34 to go. Each lap he completes is less laps he has to make on this final stop. And that just makes money in the bank for him. I think if he could just make it 2 more laps, Brandon, if he can make it to 119, he will be no doubt, making it to the end of this thing.
Well, unfortunately, he's not going to make it that far. GT coming in this time by, as well as Jeff Carson getting Casey Kuntz coming in, and a handful of others going to be coming into pit road this time by. This is going to work out a little bit for Hunter Hayward at the moment, but we know he has to pit again. He's going to have a pretty substantial lead after this all cycles around, but that extra pit stop, it's going to be about 10 or so laps away, I believe, before he has to give up the lead. He's going to be I think he's going to have to hope for a caution. Some of these guys that pit extremely early with him going to have to hope for a caution here to kind of reset themselves and get that lifeline to not fall too far back.
Well, I'll tell you what, with this right here, 117 being where they made it, let's say, Carson, they're almost exiting pit road with Irizarry. They're side by side exiting pit road here. They'll come out side by side there. But 117 there, Brendan, that's still 33 laps. That's still very doable in my book. You might have to save a little bit of fuel, but I just don't see those tires coming back around. I mean, we're going to see here once they cycle through, Hayward is going to be, let's see, he's going down to 1. Irizarry's going down through 3 and 4. So, I mean, hasn't even made a full lap on him. He's going to give up a whole nother lap and a half to him. So, it's just not going to work out in my book.
And now the tire difference between when Hayward pit and how old the tires were to the field then versus how old they're going to be right now, how much time he's given up right now, I think he's got a little bit more wear on his tires now than the field did when he came in, and he was able to run 29-second laps for quite a long time. Now GT going to be able to chunk into that gap that Hunter Hayward has been able to pull out, and like you said, that lap and a half that he's going to give up while pitting, I think it was just unnecessary, because if I'm in his situation, I'm going, man, I've got to pit right now. But at the same time, if you were going to pit right now, you might as well have just stayed out with the field to begin with.
Yeah, and also he was right. Wow, look at this. Jeff Carson and Dustin Stallings battling hard here as we go through traffic here on these tires. Man, the biggest thing I look at, Brandon, is he could have ran there in second and actually saved some fuel behind GT in the draft. If GT was able to make it that far in clean air, you might have been able to save some fuel by riding behind him in his dirty air.
Absolutely, that would be my game plan if I'm in that type of position, knowing that we're trying to stretch it, and battling still going on really hard between Jeff Carson and Dustin Stallings. We know Dustin Stallings can be quite aggressive, and you saw it there, trying to keep the block on the 9 to make sure he did not stick the nose underneath himself going into turn 3. Push might come to shove here. Jeff Carson all over the back bumper of Dustin Stallings.
Looks like Dustin Stallings there. He pit on 116, so he pit about a lap before these guys. So he does have a little less fresh tires, but man, he's trying his best to hold on to that position. Carson, he's losing valuable time to Irizarry, Nathan Campbell, and Zach Strickland.
Talking about losing time, looks like Nolan Potter only 4 seconds ahead of GT in second position. Hunter Hayward 2 seconds ahead, just over 2 seconds ahead of Nolan Potter. But the lap difference, our leader at the moment, a 30.7 last time by. GT, the first guy on fresh tires, a 29.8. You have to see what it is this time across the line as he comes across, but it's got to be about a second. It should just be a handful of laps. Yeah, another second, 29.78 for GT. It's going to be a handful of laps, and GT's going to be there. Hunter Hayward is just, I'm not sure exactly what the thought was for this this pit stop here. But again, I'm still watching the battle between Jeff Carson and Dustin Stalling. Still just a tremendous amount of blocking going on there for that, what would be the 5th position. Man, it's you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You live by the strategy, you lose by the strategy. Man, it's been up and down strategy for a lot of guys so far. Sometimes they're hitting it pretty well, but some guys really missing it right now.
Yeah, definitely some guys missing it. Right now, I tell you what, there's a few guys that definitely are going to make it on fuel. You know, Schrittenthal, he pitted at 115. He's running right behind Irizarry. He's running some really fast times right now. And that makes me think that because he's running faster times than Irizarry, who pitted, you know, 3 laps later. I'm thinking from there, then, I mean, you know, really for that sake, I think GT might be saving a little fuel.
He might be, knowing that he's got the outright pace to begin with, could definitely just be trying to back it off just a little bit, conserve fuel in the early run, and just make sure that you can make it, even if he's given up a little bit of time now. Just kind of guaranteeing that, hey, I can make it even hitting just a little bit later than these guys, and knowing that they're going to have to push pretty hard to catch you, but also going to be later on fueled as well. So they're going to have to save. If you feel like you can't make it, they're definitely not going to be able to make it.
Well, looking at this, Hunter Hayward pitting on lap 103. He should be able to go about to 133, 136. At this point, personally, with his strategy, he's going to need a caution, Brandon. I think he might as well just stretch it here. He's going to lose even more time, but the thing is, for him, the points don't matter. You know, the race win is what matters for him, because he's locked in. So he just really, right now, I think, might as well just stretch the run here and see if he can catch some type of caution. Because if you catch a caution, you're right back in this game. You're going to put fresh tires on with 23 to go for sure.
Absolutely, and that's another point. Is tradition. This is by no means a traditional strategy out of quite a few of these guys. Also got Dustin Stallings coming back down pit road. Nolan Potter giving up 2nd place to come down pit road. But it's just trying something different because you've got nothing to lose here. You're locked in. You're just trying something to see how it's going to work, and maybe you might find your way into a win. And you know, when you've got nothing to lose, it's checkers or wreckers. There's no point in finishing anywhere other than first, and that's what this is all about right now.
Well, I can tell you one thing that really, you know, I give Hunter Hayward credit on this. He's stuck. He kind of, you know, if you're going to do the 2-stop strategy like he's doing, you got to do it. Like, you can't just, you know, say, yeah, exactly. At least he committed to it, because the lap he pitted, I wouldn't, you know, if he'd have pitted a little bit later, it would have been a lot worse, because right now, he catches a caution and he's still in first place. So he's still sitting in a good spot, and he's ahead of a lot of guys who re-pitted again, like Stallings. He was a couple seconds behind Hayward when he pitted. If Hayward has to pit again here in a few laps, he still could pull out a top 10, top 15 with the way some of these other guys played their strategy, because I only think there's a few handful of guys that really pushed it far enough to make it the full distance.
Yeah, it's going to be really close for quite a few guys. And looking at the strategy, now we got Nathan Campbell just now coming off pit road, going to be cycling back to about that 24th position, not where he needs to be this late in the going, hoping that he can pick off a lot of those positions by the end of the race. And Casey Kuntz up to 7th place. That is a big handful of points that he is giving up to one of the guys on the outside looking in. Anthony Yunus sitting in 14th, also outside looking in, needing to have that gap and pass and finish ahead of quite a few of these guys, like Nathan Campbell, who's gained stage points twice. He's up an extra 4 points by my math on his stage positions here in the bank for Nathan Campbell. So he can afford to be a little bit more risky, being I think the one that was the most ahead of the guys that were realistically on the bubble. But you definitely don't want to put yourself too far behind. So hoping that the 52 can make use of those tires, but definitely running out of time at this point in the race.
Time is going to be critical for sure, as we're 18 to go. Hunter Hayward still out front leading. Gotta say, his pace for how long he's out there on tires looking still really good. I mean, 30.70 to GT behind, who has much fresher tires, 30.37. So really a 30.50 there. So it's really only a couple tenths per lap. Hayward is doing a great job. I mean, it also could be some of these guys also saving some fuel.
And I think the tires definitely even out quite a bit, able to stretch out a gap. And if it were just a severe undercut, I think this is a really good position because the closer GT gets to Hunter, and now Hunter Hayward coming down pit road this time by, if it were just a normal undercut, it would work out. The dirty air, he'd be able to hold off only being a couple tenths slower a lap because he knows that dirty air is going to slow him down. But now just knowing you're going to have that pit stop, it's kind of, you feel good that, hey, I'm on older tires and I'm able to hold on the pace as well as I am, but you're just getting to be giving up this time. Now, GT back up to the lead. Jeff Carson 2 seconds behind GT at this point. Craig Burns just behind Carson. Schrittenthal only a handful of tenths behind Craig Burns as well. And Everett bouncing back up to the 5th position after giving up all that track position earlier with his internet issue.
And while that happens, Hunter Hayward goes a lap down as he hit pit road from that lead position, so he's going to have to make up that time. Hopefully he can get himself back on the lead lap if a caution was to come out. But man, for this now, it's going to come down to who can make the fuel last. I know a few guys are not going to do it. I don't think Schrittenthal is going to have enough. I just don't see that happening for him. Everett, what lap did he pit on? He actually pit on 119. Wow. Everett pit the latest of anybody. He pit on 119. I think Travis Everett could personally be the one we're looking at.
And he is by far the most to the good. And if GT ahead of him is worried about saving fuel, Travis Everett may just be that perfect amount where he may just start sputtering coming out of turn 4 and make it across the line, where GT is going to be worrying a lot more about when he's going to run out of fuel. And if GT is running out of fuel, like you said, Schrittenthal is definitely going to be running out. Travis Everett might be the guy that's able to push it the farthest and sneak out a win over these guys, maybe having to really shut the car off and coast for pretty much the entire last lap to be able to make it back around to the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's only got to make 32 laps in his final run, while the rest of the guys ahead of him have to make 33. So 1 lap fresher tires, 1 lap more fuel. He's looking good right now for that number 59 machine as he rolls up to the back of Schrittenthal, who I do not believe will be able to make it. He pit much earlier on 114, and he's going to be well short, being 36 laps out.
Well, we've got Stephen Carey, Andrew Little, and Anthony Yunez hitting pit road this time as well. Cycling some guys even more toward the front. Hearing some communications of apologies, maybe a little bit of door rubbing out of some guys on the track there. Almost had another incident on the front stretch as well. Guys bouncing off the wall. I believe it was the 33. Almost got into some guys.
As we ride on board here, GT, you can actually hear he is actually saving a giant amount of fuel, clutching this race car, entering these corners, using the momentum to go around. And I think it's pretty smart, especially 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is a corner where you're going to lift anyways, so you might as well clutch it. And 3 and 4, you kind of can't save fuel. It's a wide open corner. It's kind of like a straightaway, so there's only really 1 corner to save fuel out of this track, in my opinion.
Yeah, and because it's so flat, if you can get out of the gas and clutch it pretty early, you've got a lot of time that you can spend rolling through the corner before you get back to it, especially late in the run when the tires are pretty worn. But like you said, 3 and 4, everybody's got to be full throttle there to just stay even with one another, and you just can't afford to give up that much time coasting and trying to save fuel there. GT, we know he was saving fuel the first run, or the run for the second stage there, so I think he may be able to figure out how to save just enough. But now we see Hunter Hayward coming up to the back bumper of GT, now unlapping himself. Going to be in the 14th position, just ahead of him, Bob Fitzpatrick, who unlapped himself a number of laps ago while GT was starting to save his fuel.
And you're going to see with 9 to go, no way that 48 is going to get back around to catch this number 14. So you can see that's the difference between a 2-stop and a 1-stop. I mean, 2-stop could work over a long distance, but this isn't a super long distance. We're looking at 55% fuel load. The runs are shorter, so that really doesn't allow the 2-stop much time to get back around.
Yeah, if this was just a little bit farther of a distance, if guys had to stretch it a little bit more to the extreme to make sure they could make it to the end, I would be a little bit more in favor of the 2-stop, because you've got a risk of a lot of people running out of fuel and potentially nobody being able to make it to the end. and you being able to just go full throttle and not worry about saving your tires, push as hard as you can to make up all that position, it could still get you a win. But I've got to be in the favor of just having the track position. Even if you run out, you may still be in a position to coast back across the to win when everybody else is really coasting behind you, or maybe just too far back to even catch you before you can coast across the line.
Well, becoming the 6th to go this time. And I tell you what, GT also, he's kind of found a little friend here in the number 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick. He's been able to drive very well off of this Clutch Motorsports race car right ahead of him. And GT's definitely using a little bit of clutch too. So saving the fuel necessary here in the final moments of this race. But I tell you what, he can't do too much because Carson less than a second behind.
I was just about to bring that up. Jeff Carson has been able to start chunking into that lead while GT has been trying to save fuel. Last time by a 10th quicker. We'll see what it is this time. A 30.98 for GT, a 30.9 for Jeff Carson. GT no longer saving fuel, realizing, hey, I can't afford to save for much longer. If I do, Jeff Carson is going to be there to pass me, and I'm definitely not going to win this race unless he runs out of fuel. So now GT picking back up his pace a bit. If he's saved enough, whatever he saved, it's got to be enough because he can't afford to try to save anything else.
Out of 4 this time, we'll have 4 to go. GT Irizarry looking for another win here to cap off this season, as he will definitely be our regular season champion with a 57-point lead there tonight. We're looking for that 3rd win, and I tell you what, 3 of those wins coming in the very final moments of the regular season.
Yeah, it took him about the whole season to really catch fire, but he finally caught fire, and he's been burning pretty bright. I believe it's been a first, second, and first now if he wins this race. So It's been a pretty incredible stretch of 4 races for GT.
Well, I told him last week, the way it continues, he was second, first. He was second last week. So what's he going to be this week? It's looking like first so far here with 3 to go. Carson's fell back a few tenths of a second. And I think GT has given up on saving fuel because he's passed those lap cars. Now he's going to have 2 to go. I think he's got the green light and he's ready to go.
Yeah, last time by over almost a half a second faster than Carson. This time almost 0.2 quicker than Jeff Carson. I think Carson at this point realizes, hey, now I've got to save fuel. GT just started saving a little bit earlier. His tires are going to be fresher at this point when he can really start pushing it toward the end of the race.
Craig Burns, I think, sputtering, guys. Something. He had a big loss of momentum as we taking the white flag this time by. There it is out in the air. This race will be official. GT going down into 1. Who's going to have enough fuel? Can Craig Burns hang on to the 3rd position as Everett is closing it? Irizarry, though, out of 2 this time. Car all under power. No problems there as they guide themselves down the back straightaway. Down into 3 and 4. I believe Carson somewhat slow, but out of 4. GT Irizarry, he's going to be your Sheffield Graphics race winner here tonight, and I think the car's out of fuel.
That was stretching it to perfection.
That's how you do it, boys. What a win. Congrats to GT Irizarry, 3rd win of the season, regular season champion to boot. This man's on a roll right before the playoffs kick off, and he is always on top of it with strategy. What a call from this guy. So come out of 4 here. He's going to do a little bit of celebrating. I think he saved some fuel, actually. I don't think he's out of fuel. He's definitely not out of fuel. Yeah, he's got fuel. He's got plenty of fuel, guys. He's playing possum crossing the line. Man, oh man, he saved enough for a whole burnout and extra lap, Brandon. That shows you how much he was planning for that. And what a job by him as he burns it down the front straightaway. We'll be back in a few moments, everybody, as we get our top 3 finishers up here in the booth and have a chat with them about the playoffs. All right, we're back here, everybody, for your post-race interview segment of tonight's race. As you look here, the 12 of Craig A. Burns able to bring home a third-place finish here tonight in that number 12 machine. And I tell you what a night it was for him. But let's go ahead and bring him on up in the booth and hear what his thoughts are on a fantastic run here tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. Hey, Craig, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Craig, fantastic run here tonight for yourself, man, here at Texas. Just describe to us how you were able to put yourself in position all night, qualified fourth and really kept yourself in the battle all night long. And a lot of different strategies being played, but you definitely played the right one.
Yeah, I just went in there trying to back up 1 and 2. I knew that was going to be crucial on the tires all night, and really caught me off guard there that we had to pit in the first stage. But I think we played our cards pretty good tonight and came home with 3.
Yeah, man, definitely a great run for yourself there to bring home that third position. Showing a lot of pace here tonight, the 1.5 miles at Texas, man. We head off to Chicagoland next week. You think you can carry some of this over there?
Hopefully, I'm going to put in some laps there. We needed a win to get in there, but it didn't pan out. I'd just like to thank all my guys over there at front row, man, talk us through all the pit strategy and stuff. Heck of a run for us tonight.
Yeah, it definitely was, Craig, man. Heck of a run for you guys tonight there for your team, and what a strategy call it was because you guys were definitely on top of that, man. Before we let you go, there, anybody else you want to send a shout to?
Shout out to all admins in the league. Ryan, he does a heck of a job putting the show together. Shout out to my guys at front row, everyone back at the shop, and shout out to my dad. I know he's out there watching.
Awesome stuff, Craig. Well, man, congrats tonight on third, buddy, and we'll catch you next week in Chicagoland.
Hey, guys.
All right, everybody. That was Craig Burns there, your third place finisher. But look at this. Second place man here tonight, Jeff Carson. This guy looking very, very strong in this number 9 machine here at Texas after a great run in the ARCA series. Let's hear what he has to say. Hey, Jeff, it's Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, man, back up here again tonight. 2 runs in the top 3 for yourself at the Texas Motor Speedway, Jeff. Man, this Cup car, I mean, you got to win it already this season. It's just clicking for you, man. I'm telling you what, these guys are lucky you didn't have the amount of starts, to be able to get up in there because you were really clicking with this car so far this season, man. Just describe to us how good a race you had tonight because you were right there on top of it all night.
The race was great. It came down to fuel strategy. Me and GT pretty much on the same strategy. And when I saw him come pit, I pitted with him, and I was just basically running his same strategy and just hoping no caution or anything. And I was satisfied with P2.
Yeah, definitely. That second place finish here tonight, man, is definitely a great spot for you tonight here, man. Texas, especially getting that win earlier in the season. Now we head to Chicagoland. Another 1.5 mile track here. You're looking really strong at the 1.5 miles here in the cup package, man. How you feeling about going to Chicagoland next week?
I love 1.5 mile tracks. I just do very well at them. Some people are great at plate racing and short tracks. I'm just great at 1.5 mile tracks, and I'm just going to continue and go out there and do what I can do and show what I got.
Hey, man, well, I definitely think you're going to show what you got for sure because next week in Chicagoland, I would expect that 9 to be running right up there again. Each and every week, that thing's looking fast, man. And I like the number change, too. It looks good on the side of the door. But congrats on second here tonight, Jeff. Before we let you go, anybody want to send a shout to, man?
Yeah, it's a shout out to the league, all the admins putting it together. You guys for broadcasting. You guys do an awesome job. The teammates I was running for tonight and the ones that couldn't be here, and my sponsor, Wild West.
Well, awesome job, Jeff. We will catch you next week in Chicagoland, man. You have a great night.
All right, you too, bud. Thank you.
All right, guys. That was Jeff Carson. And that number 9 machine bringing home that second place finish. What a job by him. But we got our 3-time race winner this season and our regular season champion, GT RSR. Let's hear what he has to say. Hey, GT is Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy? Hey, GT, you got a copy, buddy?
You hear me?
Oh, there we go. I got you loud and clear now. first few times with false alarm, but we got you now, GT. Good to have you up here, buddy. Man, congrats on the 3rd victory of the season. You just turned these last like 6 races really into your races, man. I mean, it's been first, second, first, second, first, second. I mean, each and every week, you're bouncing back in these top positions. I mean, just describe to us this race overall, because the strategy was all over the place with a lot of guys doing different things, man. But you were on top of it.
Don't forget now, there was a third in there at the Milwaukee Mile right after.
Oh, true. Oh man.
I mean, that was a horrible race. But anyhow, no, yeah, the strategy was something else. Like I told you guys before, Travis and I were really in a heavy debate about taking tires on that first stage or not, and he didn't. So I said, all right, well, let's go with it. And once again, it worked out for us. But we had to do some real heavy fuel saving here. I mean, heavy to the point to where, on the front stretch, as soon as you got out of the second dog leg, I pretty much was throwing it into neutral and just coasting all the way through to the I was pretty well coasting on the second half of the runs, to the point to where I normally would actually get back on the gas. So I had a lot of just, off throttle completely through 1 and 2. And I mean, I barely made it through stage 2, but we made it. I mean, we were out of gas going down pit road, and actually, I was worried about overshooting my pit stall, which you guys talk about all the time up in the booth about people running out of gas, and they don't want to overshoot because then they got a tow. And I was like, man, please don't do this. Please don't do this. And I was able to stop it. So that was a fun race, man.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on there. You also had a lot of guys right there behind you while you're fuel saving. A second back. Just kind of lurking. Describe to the fans at home, because it's so tough to be able to save fuel and keep those guys behind you at a certain distance to where they can't get ahead of you. And I mean, just tell us what you're playing. Are you trying to keep that gap at a certain point and then go, or what's going through your mind as you're saving fuel out front?
The poker game with race cars out on the track, man. I was paying attention to who pitted. I knew 48 was going to be way off sequence. But then I started watching, and I realized that Jeff was the one that actually pitted with me. So I knew he was on our fuel strategy, and I knew that the 12 pitted a lap prior to us, and I knew that Travis pitted a lap after us. But Travis had some connection issues, and he did it himself. He went high and just let people go by. He didn't want to, mess up somebody's race, and still came back to finish 4th. So congrats to him. But I really, Jeff was the one that I was watching. So as long as I could just keep him at a certain distance, I was fine. I didn't know this, but his teammate, I passed his teammate, and then I told him to go back by, which was Bob. And I was doing it on purpose so I could just draft on him. And I didn't realize they were teammates. So he was telling me after the race that, yeah, they were talking about it, and they knew exactly what I was doing. But I mean, he was the only one him and Travis. I knew the 12 had a pit, so I just had to keep him at bay and just not overdrive the car.
Yeah, man. Well, you definitely did that to perfection, man. Definitely even had enough fuel for us to do a burnout. You always save this enough. So we were very happy that you were able to do that for us. But now it gets into the real part of the season, man. I mean, I tell you what, you're the regular season champion, but I know you're going to want to be the end of the season champion. So, heading into these playoffs, what's it going to take, you think, to win the championship? What's the mindset going into it?
The talk of the team is it's my turn for the bad luck. And I'm hoping that they're incorrect in that. And really, that's what what it's going to take is a great run at Chicago. It's going to take a good run at Iowa. And then just, if you can accomplish, that too, and then you can afford to have a bad race at Daytona. We're super speedways are not I always say that about short tracks too, but I don't know, man. Super speedways in these cars with this new package, it's not fun. But even though it's not fun, you still get caught up in other people's mess, or even cause your own mess. I'm not saying I don't cause them, but that's going to be the main focus. Is really Chicago is circle. I mean, we're going to have to perform there and just keep this momentum, which we got the momentum going in the right direction at the best possible time. But is what Curtis drivers were telling me. They're like, oh, this is what you're saying. You don't want to have a Kevin Harvick year like last year, do all this and then get knocked out of the Final Four, and that's what we're trying not to do.
Well, man, I tell you what, it's gonna be fun to watch. You got 16 competitors out there who are going to be going very hard for this championship, and it's going to be, like you said, it's going to come down to not making mistakes and get the most out of the races that you need to get the most out of, man. So congrats on the victory here tonight, man. Third of the season, regular season champion also. So you took it all home this season, man. This regular season, just being super consistent and getting your wins really at the last part of the season to get your momentum up, man. So hopefully I can continue to playoffs and that bad luck doesn't come like your teammate said. But man, before we let you go and celebrate this, anybody want to send a shout to?
I was going to ask you this. I actually got really close to the Freaky Fast Grand Slam. I just didn't get the pole.
Oh, that's true, man. That's true. You just didn't get the pole, guys. Oh man,
I was close.
so
I was
close, so
close.
close.
Well, I almost had it at Indy too, but I didn't win stage 2. So whatever, man. But I did get the pole there. I know I'm horrible at this. I don't know what else to do, man. All right, yeah, I want to thank you boys up in the booth. Obviously, got to thank my teammates at SJR. You know, we didn't have a whole lot of practice with him this week because Curtis is out of town. He picked a heck of a time to go on vacation, but you know, he's having a good time, and that's what matters. And so is Sheffield. Both of them went on a little vacation, and they both deserve it. So definitely thank them. Thank Ryan for everything he does for the league, both on and off the track. Michael Sheffield as well for everything with Sheffield Graphics. You boys up in the booth, Mustang Week. You know, they're getting the W's now, man. So that's all good. And also got to thank ButtKicker too for coming on board with us as well. Really, that's about it, man.
Well, I tell you what, buddy, it's been a fantastic night of racing, and we can't wait to get off to Chicagoland next week to kick off the playoffs, buddy. So congrats on the win here tonight, man, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, guys, y'all have a good night.
You too, buddy. All right, everybody, that was your Sheffield Graphics race winner of GT Irizarry. After, we did have stage cautions tonight, Brandon, but we didn't have any other yellows. So, man, what a green race we had here tonight. Great racing around, lots of strategy. It was just one of the better Texas races I can remember, actually. So, congrats to the league here, because Texas, some people would say it's a snooze fest, but it definitely was that tonight. But let's go ahead and pull up our race results here as you see them on the screen. GT Irizarry bringing home that third victory of the season there for Slide Job Racing, being your regular season champion. So congrats to him on winning that Sheffield Graphics race winning award. Second's going to go to Jeff Carson. Third's going to be Craig A. Burns. Fourth is going to go to Teammate GT Travis Everett. Fifth's going to go to Kevin Ruff. Sixth's going to be Casey Kuntz. Seventh is going to be James Catrone. Eighth's going to go to Chad B. Singer. Ninth's going to be Hunter Hayward. And 10th's going to be Kevin Sabilla. 11th's going to be Nolan Potter. 12th, Bob Fitzpatrick. 13th is going to be David Hall. 14th, Dustin Stallings. 15th, Nathan Campbell. 16th is Zach Strittenthal. 17th, Tony Ludi. And 18th, Harold Watkins. In the 19th position, it's going to be Andrew Little. 20th is going to be Kevin Zabladil. 21st, Stephen Carey. 22nd, Kevin Dowd. 23rd, Ryan Ezel. 24th, Anthony Yunez. 25th, Stephen Baldwin Jr. 26th, Marc-Andre Thibodeau. 27th, Rusty Modesty. 28th, Harold Rothery. And rounding out your field in the 29th position is Brock Potter. As that is your race results here tonight from the Texas Motor Speedway for the RSR Cup Series and their regular season finale for the Folds of Honor 150. And Brandon, man, final thoughts, buddy, because what a race it was. And we're going to have 16 hungry playoff drivers heading off into next week at Chicagoland.
Well, speaking of the playoff drivers, I've been sitting here crunching more numbers while you were getting those fabulous interviews, and I have some rough results, barring any other bonus points that they may have gotten that I didn't pay attention to. Got to pause for a moment so the audience can do the drum roll in their head. Okay, and the final people to make it into the playoffs, the final drivers, James Catrone, Harold Watkins, Nathan Campbell, and Andrew Little going to be squeaking in. Unfortunately, Anthony Eunice and Casey Kuntz coming up just a little bit short, 21 points for Anthony and 41 points short for Casey. And to tell you how close this was, y'all, Watkins, Campbell, and Little separated by only 3 points.
Man, that just shows you. Think about that, dude. 3 points anywhere in this whole entire 20-week season so far in the regular season. You can go back so many different places, Brandon, and look at that. I'd beat myself up if I'm one of those guys about that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's one extra position in one race could have made the difference throughout for your entire season. It comes down to being that close. Luckily, it wasn't that much separating who is just on the outside looking in, because that would be absolutely heartbreaking. But missing out on the playoffs, absolutely heartbreaking all the same. Good news is they've still got stuff to race for. There's still prizes that these guys can race for, being the first driver just outside the playoffs for the end of the season. So by no means do these guys have nothing to race for as the playoffs continue.
You're exactly right, Brandon. Those drivers still have plenty to race for as Evolution Racing League and the RSR Cup Series always put great opportunities for all the drivers, not only the playoff drivers, but the drivers outside the playoffs. So it's going to be great to see that too. We'll watch that battle ensue at Chicagoland again. But man, what a 10 weeks we have coming forward. I cannot wait to see how it plays out. But man, Brandon, what a race here tonight. I just really can't add anything else other than what a race, because it's just a lot of strategy and a lot of hard racing that we really never knew the outcome. So really congrats to the league here tonight. What a great regular season, and we can't wait to head off to the playoffs next week in Chicagoland. But now let's send it up to our producer, Robert Moore Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Man, what a race. Caution free. The only cautions we had, like you guys said, at the stage. Sitting back here doing my work and listening to you guys talk about all the strategy and the points. And like you said, it's been a long season of the regular season, 20 weeks that these guys just battled up and down, trying to get every position that they can. Comes down to the end of here at Texas. What a season we had so far before we go into the playoffs. We had some highs, we had some lows, we had some angry people, we had tempers, we had it all here at RSR Cup on Tuesday night. So make sure you tune in when the playoffs start next week at Chicago, because like Zach said, we're going to have 16 hungry men trying to get that championship away from Curtis Preston, as he'll be back probably next week, I do believe, try to defend himself on that one. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun. So make sure on YouTube, down at the bottom, leave your comments of what you thought about this race. And leave your comments of who you think might win the champion, or how you like the race, or anything. Just we'll reply back as timely matters allows us. And also, if this is your first time here visiting Freaky Fast and you enjoyed the content that we put out, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and most definitely please hit the like button on this stream. It helps us out big time, and it also helps out the league big time. But all right, well, the next time we will be live will be tomorrow night with Underdog Racing League at 8:30 with Zach Hall and Sam, going to be calling all the action as they're in their playoffs, finishing off their season here very, very shortly. But hopefully we catch everybody tomorrow night at 8:30. But until then, we want to say God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.